That's okay. Now we got some peace here, so we got a beautiful game. Denog, you want to kind of keep the peace going? You want to tell me what we have in store for us?
I mean, it really feels like Mystique were just basically saying with this lifesteal, like, okay, well, we obviously appreciate that you really love this Marcy pick. Beyond's had a lot of success playing it in the off lane. So let's try and combat that somehow. You know, you're either going to have two strength heroes into it in the Phoenix and the Marcy, or you're going to have two melee heroes in the Marcy and the Riki. So lifesteal is going to have a good time. And then we're just going to be able to flex the leaner to mid. It's still fine in the mid lane. You might go a little bit more of that magic style, but they just completely throw them off with this Morphling pick. I think it's an outstanding last pick coming through from Lou. Completely in agreement with the panel, and yeah, that is going to be the thing that secures the game for them in my eyes.
Run, NJ! Oh no, we got both of them! DQQ wants to slip on past, but they're not going to forget about the Snapfire. They'll catch up to with ease.
And the morph gets both of them.
God. I mean, the panel was saying, and you just said, this is probably one of the best Morphling games you could ever hope for, and now Lou he just got a double kill.
Yeah, doesn't feel great, right? Even if like the Lifestealer didn't come out and you know you had other options other than the Morphling, there were plenty still there. There was a Monkey King, there was a Lifestealer for themselves that they could have gone for. So yeah, I really feel like they've just given YBB all of the possible options for them to be able to close out their draft in a really solid style. And then that's without even having to worry about this Marcy, who was being set up for a really good game as well. So looks like they'll be playing the Phoenix alongside the Marcy. Don't really think he'll be able to do all that much against Lifestealer, but it's basically about just keeping the clockwork away as much as possible. Course,
I really wonder how this bottom lane is actually going to shape up versus the Lifestealer, because I don't think you would pick it with the reasoning of it addressing the Phoenix, because you already have the Lina to do that, and also you pick the Snapfire as a response as well. So like you dodge the Lina into the Marcy, but I feel like that's more of a game counter. Like Beyond's still going to have a pretty good time into that matchup in general. So you still have this Lina Marcy game counter. And I just wonder if maybe they feel like the Lifestealer is going to be able to kind of help slow down Beyond's game. But the panel even spoke about, like, this is a hero. It doesn't matter. Mid-game, you get 2 items. You're still going to have impact. It doesn't matter if you have a rough lane.
Sure, but I think the argument for that is that they just want to make sure that the Lifestealer has enough of an impact on this game that Beyond's going to have a little bit of a slower time, and then that enables not only himself to be able to get a lot of farm, but also the Lina, so that if Marcy makes that dive, even though you might have that magic immunity in the armlet, you run the risk of dying just through the risk of pretty high burst damage coming back the other way. But again, then it always comes back to the Morphling though, man. This Morphling just ruins it completely. Ugh.
Yeah, that it does, and it's a great matchup versus the Mars. Used to be a lot better when the E-Blade was kind of a build on the Morphling, because you weren't as worried about the Bulwark to be able to protect him in some of the fights. Of course, you could shotgun him down with ease, but you're able to get out of the arena without a care in the world. I will say, though, I think this is one of NJ's best heroes, the Mars, of course, back when he was crushing in Southeast Asia, playing on like Summit Gaming, some other squads. He's very, very comfortable on the Mars, so we'll see what route he wants to go down to try and set himself up for a successful lane. His bottom looks like Ray's going to be in some trouble. ZZQ, along with Beyond, will be able to leap on forward, closing the distance onto the clockwork and securing the 3rd kill for the boys on YBB.
Nearly hitting up onto that level 3 as well on the Phoenix, so lane becomes a whole lot more challenging, a lot of extra damage per second coming through. I wonder if he... Yeah, okay, that's good. At least the Clockwork's been able to purchase up another set of tangos. He's got a Wraith Band as well, just for this Lifestealer. He's already got 1 Wraith Band on his inventory, actually, just to be able to, again, man fight into this Marcy. You want to trade against this hero as much as possible, not only just to prevent the amount that Marcy's able to farm, but also dissuade her from going for those dives onto the Clockwork.
Yep. I think... So we see Lifestealer taking a little bit of damage at the moment.
Got to be a little careful
if they
about
to continue to chase
these battery assaults, though, right? Like, we know that it's kind of a good change that the battery assault now does double damage to creeps, but it also can end up pushing the wave a fair bit, which is not what Lifestealer wants, right? Even with that that feast. you're going to have a rough time if you're having to farm right next to a tower. We know Marcy, of course, has that movement spell, I guess you could call it, in the dispose, just to be able to bring them back potentially under the tower. So at least he's leveled up a point in the rage now on the lifestealer. So if he chooses to man fight, even the fiery spirits aren't going to prevent them from doing so.
Are we expecting a different build to come out from this position to Lina, or is it still going to be that kind of Falcon Blade Maelstrom and then your stock standard build we're seeing at the moment from the position 1 Linas?
Not sure you would go into the Maelstrom or not. I think the Falcon Blade is still necessary just because it provides everything that you could possibly want, right? A little bit of damage. It also gives you some mana regen to allow you to stay out on the map for a little bit longer. But I wonder if he's just going to like rush a BKB, considering you're going up against the fiery spirits to be able to prevent you from getting the egg, going up against the smoke screen to be able to prevent yourself from dying to like that Morphling waveform shotgun if the good team fights start to become more present for themselves. So I could certainly see him going down that route.
Okay. Well, so far, at least the Lina's having the best lane out of everyone. I mean, to be expected this year is a incredible laner. 33-4 compared to the 23-3 from 7E. Off to a pretty good start. Can we see maybe some supports look to influence this lane as actually top blue? There's a waveform on over, but they're not going to have the damage to bring DQQ down.
I wonder if around now is the time to be able to do so. I mean, you've got a very juicy creep wave here. Unfortunately, this double stack small camp from the Ricky is going to bring the equilibrium all the way back onto the Dire side. Won't be able to get the full wave, but that's generally okay as well as they get another kill onto the poor Clockwork. Won't even be giving up ZZQ's life for it.
Lifesteal might be in some trouble.
He wants to man
Toss
fight.
back. Did they actually toss him into ZZQ? No, it looks like the Phoenix is going to be okay. 2 points in the fire. The Fire Spirit's already helping a lot with the attack speed slow, and now he's going to secure himself the double kill. Well, mid lane might be a bait back and forth. Tiaming playing with 7-8 at the moment. Zone doesn't have the greatest mana pool. In fact, he's already used the Laguna Blade.
Looking to try and protect that power rune as much as possible. It's bot anyway, and it's a haste rune as well. And, well, that is a Lina with not much mana. Basically only has one spell.
Nice cookie.
Oh, never mind, 2.
See if it's going to be enough. 7E tries to play with the shards, but Zone still has the damage. He's going to have the Dragon Slave up in a couple of seconds, just lacking the mana with a high ground miss. Won't matter, Tiam. Oh, okay. Scatterblast point blank. DQQ is able to get the kill, and it looks like Zone will he tick out? Very activated, and with the last spirit, ZZQ. And he's going to be able to find it. All right, this Phoenix dude is so rich. Look at him, he's loving life.
Yep, already up to level 5. The lane pushed back again towards Marcy like we were talking about, so Beyond is not going to be suffering too much from the Phoenix leaving the lane. Now he even gets a couple of bottle sips. 70 is able to pick up that haste rune. So really it's just a matter of, well, you've got a siege creep that you're going to have to deal with, so Lina has to come back mid, of course. Can you look to leave too quickly? Maybe once 70 gets this lane pushed in a little bit more, he'll actually look to make a move down towards the bottom side, and seems like that might be the case.
They've got the ward on the cliff that's scouting out Ray. Definitely not the ideal target, but looks like they're just going to take whatever they can find at the moment. That's that haste rune activated, so that'll be a freebie for them. Do they want to look to try and swing down bottom as well? I still definitely not an easy kill like the Clockwork, and they'll be happy with what they've gotten.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's at the stage where Beyond's been able to be involved in 4 kills. Has been involved in just the 1 death so far, so you're fine just leaving him in this solo matchup for that little bit, but you got to get back to that mid lane, make sure that there's not too much experience going in underneath the tower, and I mean, he needs his item progression as well. At this stage, the most efficient thing to do in the game is farm. Kill's still not worth all that much.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
They're really prioritizing protecting those power runes though, aren't they?
That they are. Those supports coming from Team Mystique. It's going to be a top spawn, however, so Zone has an Arcane to play with. Might look to fall back to the jungle. No stacks for the Lina, unfortunately, though.
He's going into the Maelstrom, though. I mean, I don't hate it. It still, of course, enables you to be able to scale in a way that if you just went BKB and the team fights didn't turn out your way because of a lack of damage, you're going to be kicking yourself. But it does also mean that you're going to have this window where you are a little bit more vulnerable. And with the great game that Beyond's had to be able to begin with, he's very close to being able to pick up that armlet. So it feels to me like he's going to look to invade into Lena's space when she's looking to make use out of that Maelstrom as quickly as possible.
More fuel for my fire.
So this was the one thing I was really intrigued to see if the Lifestealer would be able to play bottom as soon as Beyond picks up that level 6. And well, with the Unleash now ready to go, it seems like he cannot lane top blue. There've been some troubles, able to get the attribute shift for the burst. It's enough to bring him down afterwards, and now 7E, well, he snowballed into the pit. He's in some trouble. Spear up in a couple of seconds, just needs to find that angle. And 7E will prevent that. So nonetheless, so there's that first death. All right. What, was it T or Kezu that said? I think T said he wasn't expecting a death, and Kezu's like, yeah, they'll get one. So there's his one. There's his first death. He can't have any more. Otherwise, we're gonna have to have a couple of words here, my good sir. I get some revenge though. The boys are coming. Look at the smoke from YBB. Should be able to catch up to NJ just before he's able to connect back to the safety of the T1 tower. And looks like that'll be the case. They've been trying TP and Ray, but unfortunately the clockwork, well, nothing he can do.
I'm not sure if that was under vision with the clockwork or not, but he's going to be very careful if it wasn't under vision as he was TPing to be able to stay out of this lane for as long as possible. He's actually going to even get a nice little D-ward off, but I wonder if clockwork revealing up on top here is going to be the cue for Beyond to say, you know what, I'm level 7. I've got my armlet coming out to be in 1 creep. Now's the time to go for a kill onto this Lifestealer.
I really like to see them play with him. You've got the catapult wave coming out shortly now as well, and this is kind of one of the issues that actually do have is in regards to their objective taking before the Morphling's able to start hitting buildings. So you need to really utilize those catapult waves whenever you can, and you know we're seeing that. 7E is going to start to rotate down along with Tianming.
They pigged out the Tusk because of this nice, clever Observer Ward placed by Ray. Not right in the lane, but does reveal any kind of movements coming through from the secret shop area. So at least it's not going to do too much to be able to prevent the tower from going down, but at least no one just walks forward feeling confident enough to be able to defend it. And Beyond, right now, he's just holding on to the sidekick right now. Obviously, he would be able to do a little bit more into the tower if he used it, but he realizes how important that is at being able to respond to any kind of defensive attempt that comes now. Doesn't seem like they're going to be committing for anything, though. And, well, they could defend this top tower if they really wanted to.
They've got Arena and the Mortimer Kisses as well here from Team Mystique, so they do have all their ultimates at the ready. Boys
they
are
just want
coming
to get a smoke
defend.
screen onto the Mars, I think. That's the main role. They see the Observer Ward as well.
Great position from Tianming. Vital person to shut down is NJ. It's going to be Ray that actually starts. NJ's going to be able to pogo stick over a lot of attention put onto the Phoenix. 2 and make it 3 ultimates actually committed to bring down the position 5. So that means Tower will be defended without any more ultimates available to kind of threaten YBB away from the area.
They got a good amount of damage into it, though. I mean, Beyond was forced to stay in the tree line for quite a long time, so he was just there soaking up a little bit of experience without actually getting that net worth. And yeah, Tower's almost down, so I wonder if one of those ultimates come back up, they'll look to try and make a movement up there, only commit something like the Arena of Blood, for example, and then use that to be able to try and extend this, because this is a true dual core lineup, right? The Lina and the Lifesteal are both super capable once this game starts to break open, but they're still in the stage where they're in their farming state right now. So really heavily on the back of Mars and Snapfire to be able to make a lot of the magic happen.
Really nice read from Zone's going to be able to avoid that smoke gank. YBB were trying to set up onto the Lina. So they might look to try and back off and now connect with Tianming. They want to jump Ray. Well, yep, looks like they're going to be able to. 70 more snowball over the tree line. They've got a DD also to work with, so plenty of damage to bring him down and now also get a little bit of chip damage into the T1 tower. In fact, with Lou even in the neighborhood, they might be able to bring it down.
And Beyond is just dealing with this solo defense on his own. He's just standing under here, feeling way too threatening to be able to make any kind of dives happen. So it's just another one of these things that the let's say higher tier teams are able to do, in that they just are able to get an objective without something being traded in return, just because of how they position their heroes around the map. Right now, it feels like Marcy is the most threatening at this point. hitting up onto all the timings that she could possibly hope for.
It's a very interesting build we've got queued up at the moment here for the Lifestealer. You did just mention that Team Mystique are kind of playing with this 2-core lineup with the Lifestealer and the Lina, so it looks like he's going to play a little bit more of a backseat role. Helbert, of course, apologies, he's actually got Armlet queued up. He did have Helbert queued up straight up before, which I was going to say is a great way to address the Marcy. But of course, needing that one item beforehand, I imagine we'll go for the Helbert afterwards.
I think Armlet's just a case of, again, dual core, right? You need to give some space to the Lina. Armlet's going to allow you to get a little bit more aggressive. Of course, helps pick up your farming speed a little bit. Not as much as the likes of a Maelstrom, but allows you to commit that little bit further. And it's all about being able to secure kills off of the back of these big ultimates, right? We saw how hesitant Team Mystique were at being able to go for that secondary attempt onto the tower until it was an absolute guarantee, which was on the back of their Arena of Blood cooldowns. So once those are dropped, Lifestealer just wants to have the confidence of being able to follow his Mars in with the Armlet and even the Infest Bomb as well, just to enable these beefier heroes on the front line to actually stand there and do their thing.
Do we feel like there could be some damage issues for Team Mystique once his pipe is picked up for his ZZQ?
I don't think so. I mean, Lina's still going pretty heavy right-click, right? Actually, she pivoted. She went back into the BKB instead of going the Maelstrom. So, yeah, maybe a little bit now. I was thinking that she was still going a little bit more down that right-clicking route.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Maybe feeling like the earlier BKB is going to be vital here. We've seen what can happen with these really strong teams where they're just able to win a couple of the early game team fights thanks to their kind of mechanics, and all of a sudden the game is just too far out of reach to be able to come back from.
Man, Beyond is so patient up on this top lane. Like previously with the attempt on the tower, Mystique was set up well to be able to read it, and he's just spent so much time right underneath this tower. They're going to eventually make the move.
They should be able to bring him down with ease, but the Mortimer Kiss is committed, but the boys have started to rotate to get some revenge. As Lou, the only exchange they'll find is the clockwork. They might catch up the zone, but Tianming is a little bit too far away to find that sleeping dart to cancel the TP. 7E though, he has caught up to DQQ in the river, and that's where the dart's going to be able to come into play, so at least they'll get some value out of it in that skirmish.
2 for 1, but it's the ports for the core. And it always happens, right? You talk about a player doing all the right things, and he still was, right? He dragged the creeps all the way under the tower, so he was a little bit tankier, but chain control was good, and their burst potential was as well. So weren't able to fully convert on that one, as Mars just able to blink away in response to the dart. Does have a sentry ward in his inventory if you wanted to place it behind the tower, but I feel like they've just conceded that objective at this stage. Not wanting to be farming too far forward. It's always the threat whenever you're going up against a Riki. There's only so many sentries that you can have throughout the map, so it's just a question of you have to ration your space, essentially.
What's the call? Basher actually just completed here for the Lifesteal. Very interesting first item. Got the blink as well from NJ, but it's going to be ready to start. But the hookshot off the mark, they'll turn to Beyond instead. But the Marcy being the first casualty of war, but they're going to be cautious about taking the fight into the potential supernova. As ZZQ's actually going to commit it towards the river. DQQ's going to try and get in range with a little shredder, and they will be able to find it. So, all right, Team Mystique find 2 kills, and they're all grouped, so they might be able to get a little bit of damage into this T1 tower as well.
They probably didn't need to commit the supernova. He was out, but really feeling that they were in a state to be able to follow up. But, I mean, no arena, no hookshot. Probably shouldn't have been feeling so anxious about having to drop that to enable his team to run away. But, well, little things going right for Mystique, right? The lead is continuing to get farmed. She hasn't really been threatened all that much for 1-1 so far. And she's really just going to go for a little bit more of this pick-off style, right? You can look to perhaps make plays with the Infest plus the Shadow Blade on the Lina. Find the Morphling while he's morphed into the Agi. And well, if you can find a pick-off like that, that's a big portion of damage that YBB won't have for any kind of TP responses. So I wonder if that means that... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go. Sorry, I was going on a different train. You keep going.
Oh, I was basically saying I wonder if that's only allowed to happen once, essentially. And then after that happens, if Tianming starts to adjust his play a little bit. Actually making a play on the Lifestealer
nearby
here.
to try and... Oh, the cookie, they weren't able to use it thanks to the punch holding him into place. So the lifesteal won't have an opportunity to get the rage off, and our Ray as well. He jumped in to try and act as the bodyguard, but he too will be killed off.
It was even a nice attempt with a cookie, right? But it was just flung up in the air at the time, so was stunned, not able to move, and a little bit unfortunate. So, and they didn't even commit too heavily either.
That's the big thing, and that's kind of what I want to bring up, is the fact that it really does feel like Radiant, they are very team fight heavy. Arena, really Mortimer Kisses is the big one, and whenever the hook shot's on cooldown, you might have some difficulties, whereas Dire, like, you're not really reliant in any key abilities. We're going to see like this Sleeping Dart, very, very low cooldown. Tusk is a low cooldown hero as well. It can be super active. So I think that could be something that YBB can continue to penalize if Team Mystique, if they win a fight but don't get any objectives, and YBB, they'll be happy.
And the fact that they didn't need to commit too much for a couple of those kills there means that Marcy, she's still got the Unleash. She's just picked up the BKB.
Is the smoke for the Infest Bomb? They're even going to catch the Phoenix inside the arena. So once again, Team Mystique, when they've got the ultimate, they look incredibly strong, but it really just comes down to how much can they get out of this skirmish. And well, it looks like the call for them is going to try and take...
It's a good call, though. I mean, they've got the damage for it for sure, with that little Shredder as well, providing a bit of the extra minus armor. Fortunately for Zone, he just doesn't have those fiery soul stacks. He's trying to get a couple from the neutral camp there. Will they be able to pick this one up, though? 5 seconds away.
They're well aware. Phoenix is spawning as well pretty short.
Nice.
And great speed timing means Beyond won't be able to jump into the middle, so they can turn to the Rick instead. Beyond activates the BKB. He's going to try and turn towards Zone, but Zone, he's standing strong. Look at the man fight. Beyond, he can't do it by himself. Zone, with the help of the double damage rune, will come out on top. YBB, can you still take this skirmish? It's a 4-on-4. The Ricky was able to buy back. You still have the Supernova as a threat. They want to try and target down with the life steal. Lou's going to look to enter off the back of the Rage. And off to the side, NJ, he's going to miss on the Spear as well. So now they've got the opportunity in the middle of the team fight. Trying to turn, controlling up the Lina for the moment. And now Lou, he can lock onto his target. The Supernova even lay it down, but this, they should be able to find it on DQQ. He doesn't have attacks with the little Shredder. They'll send him packing. Doing an incredible job to act as that bodyguard, preventing the Supernova from going down. And now they might be the ones to actually get Roche.
I mean, it's all going to be on the back of this arena coming through. NJ, he's in a good position so far.
It's an incredible one. It's a great arena, but look at the snowball. Buys them some time, and now they can turn it back around.
Great cogs.
NJ will try and moonwalk away, but meanwhile with the cogs, they'll drag back the live Scylla, holding him into place. And Lou with the waveform damage will look to clean up, as in the YBB will finally reap the rewards.
It just puts so much pressure on NJ, though, doesn't he? Basically, up until that stage, he'd been getting a lot out of the lane. Every single rotation that he'd made, he'd been able to get a couple of kills off the back of his arenas. Spear's always on point, but it just comes to the stage where he had to get infested just to have more than 200 HP to be able to join into that fight. I'm not sure what happened with the little Shredder. I guess maybe the smoke cloud was up previously, and that's why they weren't able to kill the egg, but... I mean, again, what a great use of the snowball there by 70 on his Tusk to be able to break up that initiation a little bit, allow them to get into the perfect position so that Beyond's actually able to give a solid contribution to the team fight.
Zone? Oh no, he tried to solo kill Lou with the reveal of the Shadow Blade, and now Lou's like, no sir, not gonna work out. Replicate stolen. Still Zone will be okay. A BKB's gonna be forced, and he'll look to TP.
Can't do it solo, my guy. Not without at least, I would say, that Silver Edge and the fiery soul stacks to be able to play around with.
Fortunately for Ray, just shy with there with the hook shot, almost catching up to Beyond. They might know there's a ward up on the high ground, so YBB gonna try and protect Tian Ming as he looks for the D ward. They might even get a kill as well. Beyond, no hesitation with jumping inside the cogs. Even actually pops the Unleash for that.
Farming cogs.
That's...
Got to take every opportunity, man.
Of course, of course. Much gold as you can get. It's looking scary. Armlet BKB pretty much means that there is one hero that will always be killed off inside the fight. It's not going to be easy to kite him now. I mean, Cookie Force has to be perfect from DQQ, but he also needs to keep tabs on addressing the Supernova. So there's a lot that the Snapfire needs to be focusing on in these fights.
Yeah, I mean, in place for Mechanism. in place to be able to get 4 staffs off, in place to be able to get the little shredder, and in place to be able to land the Mortimer's Kisses when you get that initiation, right? It's a lot for one guy to have to try and contribute here.
Look at Tianming. He's scouting out NJ inside their own jungle, but they might look for zone instead. But the BKB's still on cooldown for 5 seconds.
Got him.
And you'll hold the punch, so there's going to be no way that the Lina can escape off the back of a BKB TP, so an easy kill for them to find, and this was all set up thanks to Tianming's Ricky and Denok. This was a hero that I believe we gave the MVP to as well in their previous series against Meteor. They picked it up in both those games. First game was first phase, second game was second phase. He looked incredible, and it's looking no different in this game.
I was about to call it versatile, but it's not really.
NJ?
Okay, they got the task.
The Rita, decent amount of damage, but look at the Sunray. Just instantly repairs the health pool of 70. Now he's going to stand strong with Lu nearby. NJ does have the lifesteal infested him, so a lot of... Oh, all right, great timing. Will force out the supernova in an unfortunate position. Now YBB have to commit onto the higher ground. They'll get the kill onto the Mars, but there's just no more damage. No one else can follow up onto YBB, even though they went past the tier 2 and onto a tier 3. There's just nothing that team Mystique penalize that.
Yeah, they don't make that dive if Lina's alive, but she was still in the grave for about 10 or so seconds, so if they felt confident to be able to go in, they're just going to do the exact same thing that they've been doing. You know, they're going to move back towards their side of the map. Lu's actually going into the Aghanim Scepter, so making himself even tankier, hard to burst down if he's able to get that morph off onto, well, you would assume the Lifestealer, just take away some of that status resistance, make the stuns even more impactful.
Pretty goddamn farmed, and it feels like every single game we see Lu at the top. 7-1 and 3, of course, was really set up for success off the back of that double kill to start the game. So we are seeing Tianming and Beyond in combination. They've got a lot of information to work with, and the outpost to TP into as well. And the silence on the ground, they couldn't do anything to him. And they're coming now. Team Mystique, how fast can you retreat away? And well, Ray, he can't retreat too fast at all, and at least the rest of the boys will escape.
Wonder what he's going to go next on Beyond, if it's just going to be the Basher or if he's considering something like a Blink Dagger just to be able to get in onto the front. But no, just go straight Basher. Might even consider the Blink after this, right? Just so that you don't need to commit the rebound for it. You can use it for a little bit of repositioning within the team fight. There's been a couple of times that he's been caught inside things like
Oh, Tianming! Again, the smoke cloud to disrupt the initiation. They're still able to get the combo. So the Phoenix will go down, but now they've got nothing in the tank to address. Beyond's going to jump over the shards to act as a deterrent, enabling Lu just to go to work. NJ caught with his pants down and forced off to try and help him moonwalk away, but they're able to secure the kill. They'll try and turn to the Morphling, but the Aegis will expire. The Bash is there as well. Lu,
all right,
he's going to go down. And Ray, they're looking for more as well with a Cookie in combination with a 4-star. Ray's able to close the distance. Straight towards the Marcy they go. As Beyond's going to take a trip to the afterlife as well as Team Mystique. Pretty decent defense of their tier 2 tower.
It is indeed. I mean, Zone, he was able to just sit back and right-click. That's the big difference there. Of course, Lifestealer enabled to be on top of many people as well. And, I mean, we got to give props to NJ as well, right? All of his arenas have been on point. Spears as well. Yeah. It just goes to show what Comfort can do a lot of the time to be able to give you the potential to fully realize the potential of some of these really busted heroes. Like you mentioned, it was a really nice cloud there just to slow things down a little bit, but it was still plenty enough to be able to take out that that sustainer for the team fight, right? Without the Phoenix, then this Tusk, this Marcy, this Morphling certainly aren't anywhere near as strong.
Yeah, I wonder if in these fights we might even see the Marcy kind of swap her target prioritization. That fight in particular was maybe a little bit more awkward because she didn't have the Unleash to work with, but DQQ on the Snapfire is really doing a lot for them. This Cookie to reposition, the 4-staff as well. We've already spoken about, of course, he can also address the Supernova. So I'm very impressed with DQQ and what he's been able to provide Team Mystique in these fights. And well, we might see that be the case once again.
Yes, indeed. The question always is, what is the next objective that they want rather than just a kill? That haste rune would be super useful for Lifestealer to be able to prevent himself from getting kited around, although Zone has to pick it up.
Zone, but the jump in with the arena. Look who they've been able to target. It's 7E on the Tusk, but the damage, it's not enough. BKB activated. ZZQ is going to be able to help them stand strong. And the Supernova, it's towards the backline. DQQ is going to commit. They'll be able to bring it down, but Zone, he had to move in as well. It puts Selena into too much of a compromised position where they're able to capitalize on the misplacement. And now DQQ, no. Look at Tianming. It's always been the Ricky. Catching up to the Snapfire, making sure this last remaining member won't be breathing air for too much longer.
And it was just a case of picking the wrong target, essentially, right? Like, they went onto the Tusk to be able to begin that one. Look at the Marcy damage coming through. And even Phoenix, right? Just being able to get off the pipe, get off that Sunray, even some of those fiery spirits to be able to deter a lot of the damage coming through. And we see the difference when Phoenix is able to just live throughout these team fights. It might be the only hero that dies, but that's because you have to commit so heavily to be able to even take out the egg.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you drop
Sunray.
Arena and Mortimer Kisses, and all of a sudden those are two ultimates that's wasted just because of Pipe and a Sunray.
And then you commit in, you get some right clicks off, but who's actually dying in reality, right? They're able to get the quick pick off onto the Mars. Like you mentioned, Tianming's just chasing down the Snapfire, and then Tusk just punches Lifestealer into oblivion.
Alright, well, Team Mystique, they're going to try and look for smoke. Sorry, a play with the Infest, but NJ's actually farming instead. I think they were...
Just a smoke.
Smoke. One of the extra fancy ones. It gives you kind of the plus 10 movement speed on top of the normal smokes. Oh. Yes, it's a new thing getting added. I've got kind of Ice Frog in my ear. So it's letting me know some of the new updates
Special
that's
brand.
coming. Yes, Blue. Are they going to miss out on the spear?
You got to tell me
NJ's playing
smoke guy.
very. NJ. Sean, what? I gotta tell you, Smoke Guy? What do I gotta tell you? Hang on, tell
You gotta
me.
hook me up. I want that fancy smoke.
Oh, Beyond. First hit bash. But look at the Sunray once again. All right, Ray, that's a great hook shot. They've been able to cancel the Sunray pretty early on, but they still can turn it back around onto NJ. They go, and now Lou knows no way to stop. An aggressive waveform, but they've been able to catch out Ray before he can enter the high ground. They want to turn to the live still, though. Cookie gets him out of the smoke. Jesus Christ, that adaptive shot. Meanwhile, 7E is trying to target down DQQ at the moment. They're trying to force some reactions. That'll enable Lou to jump into the middle. Protected with the rage. Adaptive strike blows him up, and they call it. All right. I mean, we spoke about this was an incredible Morphling game. We felt like he would be able to completely...